Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 2 of Magic Talk, and hopefully it will become Magic Talk Monday. Today's date is November 17th, the week before Thanksgiving. And since we last talked, the Orlando Magic have gone 3-1. They lost last night in overtime against the Rockets, but it was a valiant loss. Without Paolo Banchero and without Jalen Suggs, both to groin injuries. Hopefully not going to be this year's torn obliques. Um, but missed them both last night and still only lost by 3. And, you could say something about, the foul game in the NBA and all of that not letting us get a 3-point shot up and all of that. But, missed free throws and missed opportunities were what lost us that game. But on the positive note, the Magic have gone 3-1. They have won. Um, Coming into that night, I believe it was 6 out of 2. Now it's 6 out of 3, but still a great rebound to a rough start of the year. Um, and beat the Trailblazers by the insane shot by Desmond Bane. And then you get the domination of the Knicks and the very rough game against the Nets, which I actually went to. I will probably throw up a picture on the screen now of me on the court. Um, and probably I'll throw up a picture of Franz as well. Why not? Um, but you know, all things considered, not a bad stretch of games against three teams that are pretty solid, even though the Trailblazers, very good defensive team, but two very real contenders, and you dominated one of them and were up for most of the game in the other one. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows for the Magic. Paolo hurt just day to day. Seems like it's the same thing for Suggs, just the wrong side of the groin. Um, and you know, you got dominated on the glass, and that's what happens when you don't have Paolo Banchero in the lineup, when you don't have Mo Wagner in the lineup, who is hopefully coming back soon. Um, is practicing more now, and hopefully, ramping up to maybe a December, maybe a January debut. That'll be great for the bench. As my first real point is the Magic bench. Magic bench. Uh, if you're watching these games, you might be like, yeah, Magic bench isn't great. Um, which is odd because two of your better players are on the bench. Anthony Black, very up and down player, but last night he was the one who put you in that game with that steal. But he also was the one that took you out of that game in the regulation because of the missed free throw, which has been an issue for the Magic all season. Same with the Paolo Banchero missed free throws in the Portland game that led to the heroics by Desmond Bane. But behind the Lakers, the Magic bench is the worst scoring bench in the league, averaging only 30.1 points per game. The Lakers are dealing with injuries. Most of their bench is G League guys and um, old veterans who are not super adept at scoring. Um, but Orlando just kind of has a lot of guys on the bench that you question why they're playing. Um, and I hate to dog on him for a second week in a row, but it has to be done. Um, since I've started recording this podcast, Tyus Jones hasn't scored a basket. Not only has he not scored a basket, he hasn't scored a point. He hasn't scored a point since November 2nd, and he hasn't scored a three-pointer since the road game against Charlotte on the 30th of October. Um, Really, you're wondering why he's getting playing time. I understand the facilitator aspect, but he's always a minus. Our bench is always getting outscored. Um, and now with Tristan da Silva starting, which is not a bad thing. Tristan da Silva, man, what a great second year leap. Um, Probably not going to be most improved, but man, he has been incredible this year. He has been probably your third best player. I don't really know if I would say that, maybe the fourth best player. But he's been a guy who has cemented himself in the rotation when last year he was fighting for minutes after everyone came back from injury. But TDS is great. AB's up and down, but AB has stretches where he looks amazing as a combo guard. You know, um, But other than that, you have guys off the bench who aren't really contributing. Honestly, very good Jet Howard minutes this week. Against the Nets, two 3-pointers. Against the Rockets, also contributed pretty well. Um, his final stat line, he didn't score a crazy amount, but that's not what you're asking Jet Howard to do. You're asking Jet Howard to chuck up a few shots and make a few baskets. He made five. He got 5 points last night. Led the bench. Our bench last night had a total of 12 points, while the Rockets had 29 points off the bench. And they were running one less guy than we were, right? I don't get it. Now, granted, off your bench, you don't have a whole ton of scoring, right? You have to start two guys who weren't going to start anyway. But off your bench, you don't have a whole lot of scores. You know, Tristan Silva is last night obviously started. Jet Howard's probably your best scorer off your bench, at least proven scorer. Um, and proven is very light. Um, Goga is not a scorer like whatsoever. He's also not a great defender, so yeah, that speaks on that. JI, just a non-factor on offense. I know he had a three, but pretty much like ineffective when he's on the floor offensively. And then like I said, Tyus he's been shut out in 7 straight games. Um, he is not only shooting, you know, a career worst from three if the season ended now. He has been hesitant to shoot. He's scared to shoot the basketball. He's shooting 25% from the field, and when you go to three, it's 10.5% from three. I don't know what Jace Richardson is doing, waiting in the rafters. We didn't have a guard playing last night, and Jace got no run. Nothing. Like, I'm shocked that it didn't force Mose to play Jace, and he honestly kept Tyus in the court for too long to the point where it was to the team's detriment. And once he subbed AB back in, it's a very big difference. But you're starting to wonder what Tyus Jones is providing. And it's not like I'm asking Tyus to be this, 10 point per game scorer off the bench, which is what he was in Phoenix. Um, Granted, I think he was a starter last year for most of it. But off the bench, he's been proven to be a great scorer. He's just not been that this year at all. And it's not like he's super old. I mean, in basketball years, he is. 29 is pretty old. But, there's guys who've done that for a lot longer. And it really makes you miss Corey Joseph, which is a very funny prospect and comment to be saying. But Corey Joseph last year, he started quite a few games and he was honestly, he didn't lose you games. He didn't like go win you games either. But, Corey, he shot 36% from three last year, you know? Like, not anything super insane, but he was playing good basketball. Um, Not like I you need to be the best player, but Corey, you know, was doing a lot better. And I'm not saying let's go sign a 34, 35-year-old point guard off the. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But he provided a lot more for the team than Tyus Jones is doing. And when will Jace get those minutes? I think by the end of the season he will get those minutes, but when will he get those minutes? Or is there somehow a move that we can go make and get a better backup point guard? Um, Probably not. We're very much so in cap hell. Um, can't really trade anyone until later in the season once that money opens up. Um, it would be great to have a great backup point guard, and I don't think AB's that. AB's not really a point guard. What is AB? I think AB would be a pretty solid small forward, but you already have a pretty good small forward in Tristan Silva off the bench, and you have a great small forward in the starting rotation with Franz Wagner. Huge shots against Brooklyn. Really an ugly game. Um, didn't really look like they were going to win it, even in the last few minutes. And then Franz hits that bank in three after Tristan Silva hits a three, and then he hits that step back fadeaway three, and then hit that celly. That Kia Center crowd was like on their feet. They were screaming, man. It was electric in there. Um, Especially for my first game of the season. And it was the first NBA Cup game I got to cover. That was super cool. Um, But enough about me. Back to the Magic. You're really wondering what this team can do, what the ceiling is of this team. Hopefully, everyone comes back from those injuries. It's not like you're getting the torn oblique and they're out for a month and a half. Like pulled groins probably back next week, and you need them. Like I said last episode, very hard schedule coming up for the Magic. Um, you play the Warriors tomorrow night. They're no slouch. They're pretty solid. Um, then you go against the Clippers, kind of underachieving this year. Uh, and, coming into this game, they're on a huge loss streak. They started off the season pretty well, but then, on a pretty big loss streak. They're 4-9. And then play New York again in the Key Center. And then you go on a little East Coast road trip against Boston, who's already beaten you. Philadelphia, who's already beaten you, and Detroit, who's already beaten you. Then you come back home and you play Chicago, who's already beaten you. Um, that's a rough stretch to end the month. Um, but hopefully you'll have everyone back. Um, and before that groin, Jalen was working up to a whole lot more minutes, and you know, I have a lot of hope, honestly. Not New York game, they played incredible. And honestly, last night they played well until the end. The Rockets are a real contender, man. They have a lot of great pieces, a lot of guys that are, top of their class. Kevin Durant, easily first ballot unanimous Hall of Famer. Um, you have Şengün, who is probably one of the best young centers, if not one of the best centers, period, in the NBA. Amin Thompson, what a great defender. Um, and honestly, a pretty solid scorer. But really great game from Reed Shepard last night and Steven Adams. Um, but and Aaron Holiday also played really well last night. But you were in it without your two best stars, right? I'm not super concerned with that outcome, but what I am concerned about is the bench production, and I'm sure it will be better once AB and De Silva go back to the bench. Um, But there's some lineups where you get without your four best players in the court, um, or it's hard to see the basketball move at all. I really love to see Paolo embrace that point forward role. Obviously, a lot of people are dogging on Paolo, saying that this is not a great season, not a great start. And I honestly think that's some real sports watchers, not real watching the sport, real like the app sports watchers. Because honestly, if you're watching Paolo this season, he is facilitating the offense a whole lot more, and he is doing a lot of things that aren't showing up on the stat sheet. He has his best true shooting percentage of his entire career coming into this year. He's just not shooting as much, and that's okay. That's okay, you know. Um, Let Franz take those shots. Honestly, let's get more opportunities for Desmond Bane. Um, he's had quite a few performances that have been pretty solid. You know, let's give those opportunities to Tristan Silva. Let him play. I would love for him to embrace that six-man role a whole lot more. I think that Tristan is a really, really good lightning in a bottle scorer. And even after not being a scorer, he is, a solid enough defender. He gets rebounds for you. He led the game in rebounds against Brooklyn, you know. I really think he can be not a star, but like a very solid rotational player for the Magic um for seasons to come. And honestly, this is a whole lot happier of an episode other than the Tyus Jones discussion than it was last time. But the Magic are 6-3 there in the last nine. They are 7-7. No longer have that winning record um, that they had after the Brooklyn game. I wrote that article about that. If you have not read that, please go read it. It has great quotes from Coach Mosley, Franz Wagner, and Tristan Silver all in it. And it's a good recap if you didn't watch that game. And a whole lot of people actually didn't really watch that game, that NBA Cup game. But we are 2-0 in the NBA Cup. Very hard schedule that we do play the Pistons, and we have to go play Philly again, who, like I said, has already beaten us. Um, so that should be very interesting. But very good stretch of basketball for the Magic. My only real notes is that let's try and get Jace a little bit of run, just a little bit, man. Very shocked I didn't see any Jace minutes last night. I get it. Mose is going to trust the rookie a whole lot less than he will the veteran. Um, but even in the presser, um, on Friday night against the Nets, even though Corey now it's extended to 7, but it was 6. He was defending him, saying that yeah, it's not really about that. When he's on the court, he plays better, which not really. He's gonna protect him. I get it. He is indeed a rookie. I know that Jace isn't gonna get a whole lot of run, but we've seen a whole lot more Penda minutes than we have Jace minutes. Man, just let's get a little bit more minutes. And if you're not gonna play him, send him down to Osceola, man. Osceola, great team. I actually got to cover one of their games on Thursday against the Mexico City Capetones. And Colin Castleton, UF legend, um, had a career high. He was nuts. But send him down there, man. Send Jace there. Let him get a little bit of run and let him get minutes in games. Right? It doesn't have to be Magic games, like Orlando Magic games. Let him play down in Osceola, man. I am very confident that he will provide you something if you let him play. Even saw a little bit of Jamal Cain minutes in that Nets game, and now you didn't really see him do anything because it was just for a defensive sub. But you got to see him. We haven't seen Penda or Jason in a long time. Um, that'll be great to just see them just a little bit. Now, obviously, very hard stretch coming up. You don't want to throw away games just to let your rookies play. But if you're not going to play them, Mose, just send them down to Osceola. Let them play. Let them play, please. That would be awesome. Just to see what they have. We don't really know what they have yet, and let them have a run. Both looked great in the summer league, and obviously, like I said last time, summer league does not mean everything. Kevin Knox, man, Kevin Knox looked like summer league, like second coming, and he was horrible. Um, but I would just love to see the bench play better. Um, Still, the starters are amazing. Starters are like one of the best ranked units in the league. Um, you know, as much criticism as he gets, Wendell's having a pretty solid season. Franz having a great year. Paolo having a solid year. Um, Suggs having a good year in the minutes that he's getting, and Bane having a solid enough year. Obviously, you'd want him to take more shots, make more threes, but it's a system issue, I think. But really would love to see a little bit better um, play from that bench. And it's going to matter a whole lot. This next 3-game homestand is going to be hard. And then you go back on the road to end the month, and that'll be difficult. But 3-1 in the last 4 since we last uh, talked about the Magic. And honestly, through all of the injuries, the game winners, um, the star-studded performances from guys that you weren't expecting them to play well. Um, Honestly, you gotta feel really good about it. You gotta feel really good about it. Didn't think we were gonna be in that game at all last night, with Paolo and Suggs both being down, but you were in it to the end, man. This is the Magic team that you want. If they were 6-3 right now, and you take away those other games, you're feeling really confident about this team. Take away the start to the year, and we have had a really, really, really good last 9 games. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about the Orlando Magic this week. Um, Hopefully, Coach Mosley can uh, optimize this team, and let's see us get some success, man. Let's see us lock in and close the month of November off on a win streak, or at least just winning more games than we lost. Um, Very hard schedule, but I believe it can happen, right? And please let me know, chime off in the comments, if you agree. If you have any other points and you think the Magic can get better, please let me know. Thank you for the views last week. I know it's only a little bit, but I'm doing this out of passion. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm not doing it for any of that. And once again, please follow FL Teams on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. And follow our website, flteams.com. We have amazing stories on everything Florida sports, whether it's collegiate or professional, and you can go check out some of my articles there or any other sports articles. We have a great team here, and also we have very good photography here. We post those photos down there as well, so please do that. And then also, if you want to support me personally, follow me on uh, Instagram and Twitter. It's Payne the Press. It'll be in the description as well. But I hope to talk to you guys next week on Magic Talk. And, you know, like I said, next week, this is a little bit of a harder schedule, home schedule here. And then we go to Boston. So we will actually have another 4 games to discuss coming into Magic Talk Monday next week. So, once again, thank you so much and go Magic.